the thing was a front, right? I planned on making this film and then just having this toy store name. But then like people started coming and they were like, wow, I've only seen this stuff online. And it's so great to be able to like touch it, just see it in person. And then I realized, wait, I'm kind of like the first designer toy store here. I did the messenger in response to my nephew who passed away because of an incident with the police. At the time I felt, really powerless. Oh, that was so fun when Kid Robot was down the street and Tag was there. And, at first I was nervous because we were the first ones there on Melrose. And then I bumped into Paul and he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm moving down the street. I'm like, oh.
Hey, toy family. Welcome to the Marsham Toy Hour, where we discuss anything and everything designer toys. I'm Gary Ham.
I'm George Gaspar.
And George, this almost didn't happen today. So
what?
Let me explain. So yesterday, I got a little food poisoning from a chimichanga I ate. So I spent most of last night puking my guts out and waking up every half hour, running to the toilet. And then this morning, I was feeling pretty good, but I took the day off thinking I was going to be able to like catch up on my sleep. But then I decided to do a load of laundry first. So I go down, we have a basement, and I go down to the basement, and the laundry room smells a little musty. So I open the door to where the water heater is, and there's all this rusted water everywhere. And I push my thumb into the drywall. My thumb goes right into the drywall, and the guest room's on the other side of that. So I had to call the insurance companies and all this. So $2,500 later, that's my deductible for my home insurance. We're going to get this resolved. So they're going to be tearing out drywall, repainting, retexturing, and all that good stuff. But we caught it early. It didn't like seep out into the main basement area and have to replace carpet and all that stuff.
Oh, that sounds awful. But it's a good thing you got sick, I guess.
Yeah, if there's one, yeah, sure. If there's one positive, sure. That's the way to look at it. Well, George, joining us today is a guest, and so this will be our positive for the evening. Our guest is no stranger to designer toys. He opened Southern California's first designer toy store in 2003 in historic Chinatown, LA, and then later opened a sister location on Melrose. He has helped to produce toys with many familiar names, even giving popular artists like Luke Chu and Amanda Vizell their first production toys. He's the founder and president of Munky King. Let's welcome Patrick Lamb to the show. Welcome, Patrick.
Thanks for having me, guys. And that was just an amazing intro, like the whole toilet bowel movement, rusty water thing. Does that happen to every guest? No,
not every guest.
You get a special story.
That's very interesting. I was fascinated by it, but thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I was a little worried that George was he literally just got home, long drive in LA to home, the studio city where he lives in. My stomach's been a little off and on. I actually ate real food for the first time, so it's good that I have George as a backup just in case I have a moment of urgency.
Real food? What do you usually eat, Gary? Like, what is real food? What's your usual diet?
My diet sucks. Let's just put it that way. But so yesterday I ate the chimichanga, and then I didn't eat anything all night. I pretty much didn't eat anything all day. I had a little sips of ginger ale throughout the day. I had a banana in the morning. And then around 4 o'clock today, I decided to try 2 eggs and some toast. And all seems good.
Yeah, that Arizona cuisine, I mean, that sounds boring.
It's not. Yeah, this is all home cooked stuff. We're not fancy like you LA guys getting your avocado and all your fancy salads and stuff.
California In-N-Out burger.
So Patrick,
no, the Cali burger.
The Cali burger. So Patrick, I did some studying up on you. You attended USC. You got your Master of Fine Arts in filmography. Is it filmography or film? I never know what to say, so I'll say film.
Film. Emphasis on directing.
Okay.
They divided up into different specialties, and that was my thing.
Okay, so you got your MFA in directing, and then prior to that, you were studying in economics and business management. So I'm curious, with your education and background, how is it that you got involved or wanted to get involved with the designer toy scene and eventually start a store and grow a business?
Purely by accident. I mean, It's been a weird journey. It's like I never planned on being a toy maker or a toy producer. I never had any interest. I mean, I collected your usuals, Star Wars, like any normal kid. But I opened up the location in Chinatown, not as a toy store, but as a production company and a location for a film that I was doing. And the film, like as most independent films will happen to, is my funding disappeared, and the landlord's like, "Yo, you're sitting in the middle of most touristy part of Chinatown, and you're papering up the windows." And I go in there, and it's like you and a couch and like a card table and a computer. I mean, you can't do this anymore. And I'm like, no, because I still had this fantasy of making my first feature. And I was like, I'm going to open, and I pulled this out of my ass, I'm going to open a toy store.
Did you know anything about toys?
I mean, besides the Star Wars I talked about and anime. I mean, that's why I went home and I started Googling shit. Like, this is an 03, so, what was it? I was like using Firefox or something, like AOL. I was using AOL.
Dial up.
Shit, there you go. And, I found anime, and I was like, it's kind of boring. I mean, and then I found Kid Robot site, and I was like, fuck, what is this? And I discovered designer toys. And I started stocking the bottom level with toys, and made it into, something cool. Like, it was Chinatown, designer toy temple, let's go full Asian with it, right?
Okay.
So upstairs was my office and production company, and the thing was a front, right? I planned on making this film and then just having this toy store and name, but then like people started coming, and they were like, "Wow, I've only seen this stuff online, and it's so great to be able to like touch it, just see it in person." And then I realized, wait, I'm kind of like the first designer toy store here, because artists started coming and bringing me shit. Like, I didn't know who Tim Biscuit was, but he rolled up and he like gave me a bunch of helpers out of the back of his car and said, "Hey, will you put this in?" And like, Brendan Monroe would, skate in, like he lived in like Silver Lake back in the day, and he'd have these like wooden sours. And he's like, "Oh, hey, how much do you think you can sell this for?" I'm like, "I don't know, like $100." So like, we put that out there, and soon I stopped going upstairs. I started hiring people, and it took over my life. And we started having shows and parties, and it was a lot of fun. And then, the rest is, you said some of it in the beginning. We opened up Melrose because we wanted to have a higher presence and kind of bring, like, Chinatown is light years away for people living in LA. Like, some people can live in LA all their lives and never go to Chinatown.
Yep.
So we're like, hey, we got to kind of, there's a demand for this. So we opened up Melrose, and we had a gallery, and we started to do shows, and then we started to produce, and then that's all we do now. Retail is unfortunately dead, except for the people who buy wholesale from us. Retail is not dead, but for us, retail was just like an albatross around our necks, because my pleasure in the business is producing shit and working with artists, making toys with them, and making our own stuff.
Yeah.
So we became a studio, and here we are today. So,
now, you decided to close down the retail locations. Man, is it really 2012? That sounds too long ago.
I think so. It's a long time, because we were in like Jefferson, we were in the Hood, like for like 2 years in a studio, and now we're on. I love this place. It's on Pico near Fairfax, kind of like a co-design space where, we have 3D equipment, and we have like scanners and shit that artists can come and use, all we ask is we just exchange knowledge. Like, an animator might come and say, "Hey, I got this idea for a toy. I want to print it out." And I say, "Yeah, come in, but you got to kind of teach us like how to use."
Okay, so you created like a creative space, like a design community, or like a maker's lab where people have like workstations and, like you said, 3D prototyping, maybe like laser machines and stuff that people can use.
Yeah, working more and more towards building more services. I mean, we just had a big event with Form Labs where we did like a summit where they explained, talked about 3D printing in entertainment and how to use 3D printing in mass production. So we held like 2 nights of that with 150 people, and so yeah, people in the industry would come and talk to people who were interested in 3D printing, and it was great. It was like a new community that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to reach out to if it was a store or like a studio in the hood. This space has been really nice to us. So
now, how does that work? Do you make money off of that, or people pay like a membership fee, or how does that work?
We rent out creative offices,
okay.
And we've had several events where people rent out the gallery upstairs. We recently did Taste of the Orient by that fucker Jerry, and it's like a kaiju show. Paul Kaiju was there, and he had a bunch of pieces, and people come and they raffle for the opportunity to buy these things. So
okay,
it's a crazy community.
yeah, it is, to say the least. When you decided to close down the retail locations, I never heard, like, what was the reason behind that? Was it just, designer toys had slowed down, that was, retail just didn't make sense in your high rent space, or did you just want to focus on production at that time?
I mean, once my lease was up, I was out of there. It was draining. Like, Melrose is expensive.
Yeah.
And, we were very happy to be there when designer toys was at its heyday, and we had lines around the block. You would think it was supreme now. Like, we had people line up for Possess, we had people line up for Buff Monster, and
yeah, I heard for the Possess show there was like 3,000 people that just waited overnight for the opening, and there was like 6,000 people online trying to purchase Possessed, and I mean, that's crazy. That's like you said, it's kind of like Supreme type events.
The glory days. Yeah.
We always talk about the glory days, and it's hard to explain to the new people the kind of shift that's kind of happened after around 2009, I think.
Right. I mean, it's cycles, right? It's bound to happen. So
yeah,
you just have to evolve. I mean, now we have this co-design space, and we have moving into animation, which kind of brings me back full circle to where I started. And that was my passion to begin with. And now I can work with artists that I've developed relationships with through the years,
right? And
be in a better place to pursue the moving arts.
Yeah. So, well, let's talk about your animation for a second then. So, I think it was around July last year, you guys were doing a Kickstarter campaign to produce some animated shorts based on the works of Luke Chill. It was called Grief Encounters, and you guys fully funded. I think you raised about $140,000 for that. So that's awesome. Congrats on that.
Thank you. That was. I mean, I've never done a Kickstarter before, and I think we offered some really good perks, and Luke was very generous with stuff that he was offering, like commissions and everything, and the rest, half of it goes to animation, and I think we're working with Tiny Giants, who I met Stu Gamble through Melrose. He just walked in one day and said, "Hey, I'm looking for artists. I'm an animator from London," and we just hit it off. Like, the short's one of several projects that is one of the projects that's percolated to where people can see that we're doing something on. Like, we've been developing other stuff, so I started working with Stu as a writing partner and a directing partner.
Okay.
So I mean, animation's a tough game. You go into the room, you pitch projects, and hope something happens. So we've had stuff in development that is still in development. Okay. But yeah, the short is happening, and then some. We have a couple other shorts in production too. So
sweet. And with the Grief Encounters fully funding on Kickstarter about August of last year, how's that project going for you?
We are at the 3D stage right now.
Okay.
What originally started as like a series of shorts, like his paintings basically animated. Like Luke's paintings always have a narrative, right? You see a moment in time in this narrative, and we're like, hey, what's the beginning and the end of this? So my vision for Grief Encounters was kind of, I went to school in Berkeley, and I kind of grew up on Spike and Mike's, animation fest.
Uh-huh.
And my favorite was like Plimptoons. Bill Plimpton series of shorts where, it's like First Kiss, and it's like 6 seconds of like the sketch where, there's two people kissing and it just gets all fucking trippy and shit. Yeah. I mean, the same idea was going to apply to Luke's, where we animate every painting. It'll be like a header, Possessed, and then we show Possessed, or Target, and we say, we have the bear walk in, and there's a little narrative that we tell. But it's evolved from that into a piece about, I won't give away the storyline, but it's become 3D, and it's become like one short.
Okay. I love that this kind of came, like you mentioned, full circle. You know, you got your MFA in directing, and then you meet Luke True by starting up the toy business, and now you guys are working on animation together. And are you in the director's chair for these animations?
Producing on some, writing on some, and directing on some. So,
okay.
I mean, it's gotten me back into it, which is, I don't know, it's karma, whatever you want to call it. Right?
Karma sounds good. So you're talking about producing, and we mentioned that you have produced a bunch of toys with a bunch of different artists. But your very first one, coincidentally, was also with Luke Chu. I believe it was his first production toy and your first production toy, was it not? It was the Possessed.
Yeah, it was. That thing took freaking forever to make too. I was like, I think that thing took 2 years.
I bet.
Because we didn't know jack shit about making toys. We were like, okay, I guess you gotta sculpt it, and we sculpted it, and we got pretty far. And then I was just looking at it like, you know what, this isn't it, and we can't come out. I mean, I still have the original sculpt, and it's hidden in my underwear drawer. Nobody will ever see it. Yeah. And we're like, I just pulled the plug on it, and then we just started from scratch, and it turned out well.
It turned out great.
Thank you. But the re-release is so much better because, I look at it, and me and Luke look at it, and there's like so many mistakes, like things that we wish we could have done, wish we knew to do, and I think we fixed it. I think the new Possessed, the 10th anniversary version, is how we've always envisioned it.
That's good to hear, because I mean, this was your first one, so although don't beat yourself up too much about little mistakes made in your first toy, but I mean, you're also talking about, this is probably early 2000s, where stores and producers and manufacturers, everyone was just super tight-lipped. Nobody wanted anyone else to have that same advantage they did, and if they worked hard to find the information of the factory, they didn't want to just easily give that up to someone. So everyone was tight-lipped. So it's, I think we're a little more evolved.
Well, I have to disagree with that, because there were so many people in the community that helped me out. Jonathan, Kathy was great. Jim from Strange Co was amazing. Mm-hmm. Like he hooked me up with a lot of, not only just people, just teaching me about artists, like who he likes, and I learned a lot about the whole scene from him too. So
that's awesome. Love Jim.
What up, Jim? I hope you're listening. Where you at? The scene misses you.
Yeah, we had an episode with Jim Crawford. I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, and he was great. He was talking about the old days and how he got started, and it actually sounded like he was kind of running a front at first too with his store before it became Strange Co.
I think that's how all of us started. Right, Kid Robot 2 was a
yeah.
No, it was MP3s, right? Paul Budden selling MP3 players.
Yeah, it was something. It was like mini disco that Paul was running. It was like selling hacked MP3 player mini disc players, and Gregory Blum and Jim Crawford, they were, before they started Strange Co, that's where they were working, and so they were working for Paul selling these things. And I think at some point they realized that the mini disc players are going to become obsolete, so they're looking into other business ventures. And I think it was either Gregory or maybe Paul, maybe both of them. They were both kind of starting to get into like the Hong Kong vinyl and importing it. And so behind the front of Mini Disco, they were importing toys and starting to create the KidRobot.com website and stuff.
We're all doing other stuff, and this, designer toys just kind of took over our lives, right?
Yeah,
in a good way.
In a good way, but how? So you said this just becoming a retailer and a store and a producer. It all just kind of happened by basically a missenhamps. Is that even a word? A missenhamps?
No, that's definitely not a word, but I love that word now, and that's going to be the next sticker or T-shirt or something.
Or Trump tweet.
Trump tweet. Yeah, well, basically, like out of desperation, you just started this business as a front. So, did you instantly become passionate about the toy scene, or did it take you a while, or what? How did that work?
Oh, I mean, once the toys came in, I mean, I was surrounded by them, and through osmosis, I guess. I mean, you just start to develop an eye and a love for certain pieces and certain artists, and yeah, it was just natural. Yeah.
Now, being in LA, you had your fair share of celebrities coming in and out of the stores. I think Nathan was on last episode, and he was talking about he met Robin Williams at your I think it was your Melrose location when he was doing a signing there for his Munky King toy.
Oh my God, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
How do you forget about that? One of the greatest comedians of all time.
Very, very bad memory. But yeah, he came in. Another notable is iced tea.
Oh, really?
Cocoa. And yeah, we used to have a giant key that people would sign. We still have it, but people would sign if they came in. Artists would do doodles and stuff like that. And prominently displayed as iced teas.
Now, would they leave with toys, or would they just come in and browse around?
I think I sold him a Mr. Cartoon.
Okay.
And Pharrell shot a video there. And
I know Pharrell's a big time collector. From what I hear, he's got a really big collection.
Yeah. Seth Rogen used to buy weed next door and come in. Before you could buy weed, I think he would just buy bongs. Right next door was a smoke shop, and yeah, he was a fan.
I had I don't know if this is true or not, but one of my pieces from one of your shows that I did for one of your shows on Melrose sold to the Old Spice guy.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, that's what I was told. At least I never met him or anything. I wasn't there when it sold, but I was told that it was sold to the Old Spice guy.
Oh, that's wonderful. What was the piece?
It was one for one of Cooper's birthday shows. I think I did like a Street Fighter 3 O'Clock High mashup painting.
Oh, wow. Cooper show, man. Those bring back memories.
Did he have like a birthday event there?
Yeah, he had 2 birthday events at my place. He would pack the place more than any show that I ever did. I mean, he packed it. Like,
he was, for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, he's just a big collector, but he's a very young guy. I think his birthday show was, how old was he? Like 11 or 12?
Yeah, I think he was like 11 or something like that during one of them.
And then he had the last show before you closed the store too, I think.
Yeah, I think that was his 15th birthday. For you guys who don't know Super Cooper, he's integral to the scene. He was. Yeah, he's moved on. He's grown up. But back in the day, every artist knew Cooper. His book was signed by everyone, and you respected Cooper's opinion. He is a very amazing guy, an amazing artist. Now check out his Instagram, Super Cooper, and he posts some great stuff.
Now, speaking of which, I'm going through the Munky King Instagram account right now, and are you sure this is the Munky King account? Because it looks like Luke Chu's account.
Oh.
There's you're
come on now.
That's not a diss or a slam, but you're working on a lot of stuff with Luke Chu.
Yes, we have worked with a lot with Luke Chu, and because we started we started with Possessed, and we just developed a great relationship, and he trusts me. I think that by now I think I can get his stuff right, and I know what he likes and I know how he works, and we're like brothers. So, and it's we have other partnerships going, and that's.
No, you've worked with a bunch of other artists too. Like one of your more recent toys is the Messenger, and so right now everyone knows there's a bunch of different social movements going on, from Me Too to gun reform and Black Lives Matter, and it seems like Munky King is very proactive for social change. So recently you produced the Messenger, which is inspired by Colin Kaepernick's Stand for Change and taking a knee during the national anthems of NFL games. And so what does it mean to you to produce toys that have such a strong message behind them?
Wow, that's
too deep.
I mean, yeah, it conjures up a lot of feelings for me. I did the Messenger in response to my nephew who passed away because of an incident with the police, and at the time I felt really powerless. It's hard to go when it's your word against the man. Who do you think usually wins, right? It's like I felt like I needed some kind of outlet for it. And right then, around that time, is when Colin took the knee. So kind of things clicked. And then I was like, well, who would be perfect for this project? Because I was thinking, well, I want to be kind of cubist, kind of sculptural. I don't want an action figure, right? I want something that kind of creates like an iconic image around his protest. And I immediately thought of kaNO. And he stepped up. He's like, yo, you know, I know I'm gonna catch heat for this shit, but fuck them, you know. Let's, you know.
That sounds like kaNO.
Yeah, he's like, let's shake things up. And we worked together on getting the design, and our 3D sculptor did an amazing job. I don't know if he wants me to name him, because unfortunately a lot of people don't agree with what we're doing. Some artists don't want to, you know, some other artists that we've talked to besides kaNO, like, yo, you know, I agree with you, but my audience might not appreciate me taking a stance.
Really?
Respect that. You know, I can totally respect that, you know?
Sure.
But fucking, you know, kaNO's audience, shit, check his feed. You know, he gets more love on his fucking Instagram for the Messenger than we do on ours. Obviously,
awesome.
I mean, isn't that kind of what art is about, is taking a stance, though? I mean, that's kind of what it should be. And I got to say, this piece is gorgeous. Like, I can't wait to get one and put it on my shelf, and I'm definitely buying this piece. It's so, I mean, the sculpture, for the guy that did it, if he listens to this, amazing job, because he may not want to be named, but he really should. He should be proud of that piece, because it looks incredible. Like you were talking about the angles and everything. The angles on this piece are so nice, and the line work is so beautiful on the sculpt that it's just like, this should be on this guy's front page of his portfolio. Like, even if he's afraid of the message, like, this thing is amazing. So he should definitely stand up and take credit for this, because it's really nice.
Yeah, the sculpt is great. It wouldn't have been as great without kaNO's design. Did I just give kaNO a freaking compliment? Damn it. That's total joke, people. kaNO knows what's up. But yeah, no, great design work by kaNO, amazing sculpting job, and it turned out really great, Patrick. And am I right that it's also being produced in 2 mediums, right? So the first edition was like a clear resin, and now it's also being produced in vinyl?
Yes, we did. Before I go into that, all proceeds go to charity on this piece. I mean, we're not here to make money off of, you know, his protest. That's just not why this happened. So yeah, anything we make goes to Know Your Rights Camp, which is the charity that Cap set up so that, you know, the youth can come and kind of learn what are their rights and what to do in case of a situation where they're stopped, and how to avoid, you know, being dead. So it goes to them. And what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Well, I guess the new question was, did you actually work with Kaepernick on this? Was he involved at all?
We are talking to him and trying to work out the specifics of how he can get behind the piece, because he likes the way he loves the way it turns out. He thinks it's done very tastefully, and which, you know, that's just, I mean, those words mean a lot, you know, to me.
Yeah.
But how do you do it in a way that doesn't make it look like he's commercializing it? So,
right.
I think we'll be working more with his charity, you know, and, you know, once Cap starts tweeting out like, hey, you know, thank you from Know Your Rights Camp. This is, you know, for your support, you know, and we want to give it to other people out there who have taken a stance and mentioned Kaepernick and said, you know what, you got to stand by this brother because he's doing the right thing, you know. So yeah, we did ones in resin. That was what we were talking about. We did ones in resin and vinyl. The resin ones are they're a one-piece pool, so it's, you know, crystal clear. There's no kind of joints inside it, and it just, I mean, I love it. And that sells for $200, and, you know, that'll make a nice trophy for, like, you know, a kid attending Know Your Rights Camp, and that's what it's going for.
I like the way that you use the marketing on your Instagram account, how you use the figure actually for, like, the recent March for Our Lives event out there in LA, and just you're kind of just using his stance just for social change in general. And I like the way that you've applied that to your marketing campaign for the figure.
Thank you. It's, I mean, that's the idea, like, to get these in people's hands and put it out there in, you know, in front of a situation. Let's just say, like, you put it, you know, in front of a protest march or in front of a strike. You know what I mean? Just to kind of use this as an iconic image, something to add to your Instagram that kind of ties all these images together. And hopefully we created a symbol for Cap that, you know, you put his face out there and people are going to like, oh, I hate that guy, you know, or I love that guy, you know. You might be a Cowboys fan and it's like, oh, I like what he's saying, but he's fucking, you know, I hate the Niners. And like that gets in the way. But if we can kind of distill his image into this form and people can use that as a form of protest. I mean, that's the goal. And I mean, my vision would be like, hey, you know, maybe there's a Black Lives Matter march and there's like a giant balloon version of it, you know, floating above,
awesome. Yeah.
You know, and sitting outside the White House. I mean, that's dreaming, but we'll see.
Well, I think it's awesome because I think, you know, a lot of people will, you know, skirt around hot topics and try to avoid anything that's controversial, and you're not shying away from it. You're kind of hitting it right straight on. And one thing I really appreciate about it is, you know, the design work and the marketing, everything that you've done for it has been classily done. Even the design work, it's just evoking.
Thank you. And let me speak to our customers and our collectors. Like, I know a lot of you guys don't agree with what I'm saying, which is why we're creating truth2power.com. And that's truth-to-power.com. That's a fucking mouthful, but that's all they had. Or Truth to Power Art will actually get there too. It's for our nonprofit ventures and our social justice toys. And it helps us to get people to support the projects we're producing and not feel like they're, you know, kind of supporting a company, you know, like Munky King. You know, we're doing this not to make money off of it. So that's why, you know, we created an image for Never Again. It's like a knotted up AR-15.
Saw it. Yeah. That's great.
Thank you. I mean, it's inspired by that big giant knotted 45 Magnum outside the UN that Yoko Ono commissioned when after Lenin died. It's like a big revolver with a knot in its barrel, and we thought, you know, the AR is the new killer, so why not? And I referenced that, and yeah, I mean, we made T-shirts that we gave to kids that they went marching on City Hall here in Culver City, and they really enjoyed like being unified by an image. You know, they're all wearing that symbol, the AR, and they felt like rather than trudging out to a field trip, that they're actually all part of something. And that's the whole idea behind this series, is to create these images that kind of unify people's visions.
I totally commend you on that, because what you're doing, I mean, it's important, and it's great to hear that you're willing to use your voice.
Thank you.
Now, these are obviously designer toys, but I would imagine, you know, the message behind it is going to have a much broader reach and appeal than just the designer toy collectors out there. So have you noticed that it's reaching beyond the designer toy scene?
It's trickling out. It's hard. You know, there's a lot of noise out there that you got to pierce through in social media. And
sure,
I think once we get Cap's finalized and have him help us in that regard, then yeah, sky's the limit. So, you know, we'd like to make an animated piece on the messenger too, and that's one thing that we're developing. And yeah, there you go.
Great. Now, I guess like moving away from that, this weekend, or this past weekend actually, there was 3 international toy focus conventions. There was ToyCon UK, and then there was 2 events in Shanghai. Was the Shanghai Toy Show, and was the Wonder Festival is now in Shanghai too. I think there's their first Wonder Festival out there in Shanghai. Do you ever exhibit internationally at any of these conventions? I know I've seen you all the time at San Diego Comic-Con, right across from the WB booth. You're in the middle of the party, but internationally, what kind of exposure is Munky King getting?
Right now, like 0. We need to do that. It's like every year I'm like, God, you know, do we buy a new Mac or do we go to Shanghai? You know, it's like sometimes we got to make tough choices, and
sure,
but those are necessary because we do want to reach a wider audience. And I was thinking about doing Thailand. I would love to do Thailand. I hear that's amazing.
I don't know how you decide which convention you do. I mean, the Shanghai Toy Show looked incredible. I mean, all I did was look at hashtags for that show, and it seems like anybody who was anybody in Asia was there, and so many great releases. But I mean, even Wonder Festival, Kid Robot had a setup there, and ToyCon UK looks great. So I mean, I've never been to an international convention, so it's definitely on my to-do list, unless another water heater takes out more walls.
Have you guys gone to the Asian cons?
No, I never been. George has been.
George?
I went to one Wonderfest in Japan, and that was cool. That convention was so big, it's like anything you're into, it's there. And there's like a whole section of it.
All right, I'm sold.
It was,
Right.
I mean, Wonderfest was one of the coolest, and it all seems like it's almost like the decon vibe, where it's like all these people who are just making their own things, but then it's like just it's insane. I don't know. It's weird because like all these people are making their own things, but they're not just resin stuff. It's like production pieces. So
Right.
it's weird because it's like actual toys, but homemade by people. And I don't know how they all do it. And some of it's they have licenses, like individual people have licensed stuff. And it's like, and they're legit licensed stuff. They're not like, bootleg things. They have
They're like
different
edition
rules over
size
there.
stuff, like 5 or 10 or.
Yeah, exactly. And like you got to get there super early because everybody knows exactly what they want. And by the time you get to that booth as like an outsider, you're just like, oh, all your stuff is gone.
All right, we'll be there next year.
Yeah, I heard people for the Shanghai Toy Show were just waiting for that show for like 5 days. Like they would go in and they'd rotate back out. And I mean, you look at the pictures people have been posting online. It just seems like it's just shoulder to shoulder people, and it's everything from cute toys to super like creepy and weird, overly detailed stuff. I mean, it's anything and everything. But have you noticed since you've been doing this since 2003? What's the biggest change that you've seen, or the biggest difference between American toy culture and like the Asian culture?
I'm only exposed to the Asian stuff like on social media and online. Like the last time I was in Asia, like I'm walking around Hong Kong, and there's not that much of a scene there. It's like they collect hot toys, and there's like two or three retail shops.
Okay.
But I think the scene's really exploding in like Singapore and Shanghai and Korea, and yeah, I definitely want to go check that out. Now that my kids are grown, maybe I'll go now.
Yeah, kids can be a real weight, like an anchor sometimes, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And the American scene, I don't know. What's your guys' impression of it? I'd like to hear that.
I mean, just from watching social media for the Asia convention the past couple of years, I mean, it really seems like there's a whole new a resurgence. God, I'm just making up words left and right.
It's definitely not insurgents.
Insurgents.
But it definitely seems like they are having one hell of a heyday going on. I mean, you're talking about what you experienced when you started out in 2003 to the early 2000s, and they had it before we took notice, and now it really seems like they've taken over. I mean, like even George mentioned it. They're doing small runs in vinyl, 5 to 10 pieces in vinyl, and it seems like most of the American culture producers are, when they're doing small runs, it's in resin, and I don't know how to explain it, but there's so many artists out there that are extremely popular that we're really not that familiar with. But those artists and brands have lines wrapping around the convention center, constant sellouts, lots of conventions. Yeah, so I don't know how to exactly explain it other than it seems like, we've always kind of been a little on the stagnant to having moderate growth as of the past couple of years, but it seems like they are having rapid growth, extreme popularity, and really it's kind of their heyday right now.
Right. It's tough for me to look at that because like I look at it, I'm like, man, I want to do that. It's like it's better for me when I just turn that stuff off and just focus on what we're doing, and maybe just do our own thing, and maybe our brand of the new direction we're taking. We can bring more politically charged toys that speak to like the Asian experience out there. I mean, there's a lot of fucked up shit going on out there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm sure you'll see something from us that might address that,
Yeah. George, do you see any difference between the American culture and toys in Asia? What's going on now?
Oh man, I don't really pay attention to anything right now. I'm so out of. I don't even know what's going on in the U.S. culture. Are you kidding me? Like I don't know what's even going on. I didn't even know that Patrick had a freaking Form Labs Maker Labs studio, and I live 13 minutes from it. Like
yeah,
how?
Like you never got our. Oh man, you would have been perfect.
I would have loved to have been there when what was it? You said Formlabs, right? When it came out?
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been there. I'm on there. Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, I now it makes me want to get over there and see what you got going on, because that's such a cool space. Like, that sounds like so amazing.
This is why we have you on the show, George, because I think if you weren't on this show, you would have no idea what's going on in toys.
Oh, believe me, if I wasn't on this show, I would never know anything about anything. Yeah, this is the only thing keeping me tangentially connected at all.
Is tangentially a word?
Yes.
Okay.
It's you that makes up all the words, Gary.
Sure.
I got a Munky King memory from way back. You guys, Munky King is the one that did the 20-inch Mad L show, right?
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
That was that's like one of the big
galleries.
shows back in the day. Like one of the biggest, like, I mean, that kind of like started all those like custom shows for all these people. I mean, you see something like that and everybody started doing things like that. Like Munky King really like just went above and beyond with that party and that opening and everything. It was amazing.
Oh God, you bring it all back. Yeah. We had like,
there was a freaking ice sculpture.
Giant, God, there was an ice sculpture. It was when Weedy Wheat was around.
Yep.
And we had two other galleries involved too, where to house some of those giant, the 20-inch Mad Ls. And those are amazing. How come we should have done a book on that?
I mean, you still could if you had any pictures, because that I think people still love that shape.
They do.
Yeah, man. Jeremy Mad L killed it with that.
Yeah, we don't see too many works by Jeremy as far as designer toys anymore. I think he's doing mainstream toy design and stuff.
He's doing real toys.
Doing real toys.
And actually making money.
A real job.
All right, let's take a break and mention some of our awesome sponsors. If you're looking for some designer toys to purchase, we've got some great stores for you. Check out 3dretro.com and strangecattoys.com. If you go to Strange Cat Toys, you'll receive 10% off if you use promo code DOPE at checkout. And if you're looking for some awesome designer toy news, we've got two awesome blogs to check out, SpankyStokes.com and thetoychronicle.com. And Toy Chronicle also has a sweet app, so search Toy Chronicle on the Apple Store or Google Play and give that a download.
Oh, I bet you all are missing Teresa's voice, huh? Well, this week, Patrick, there's a company called SuperPlastic. It's starting up, and May 15th is their big release date, their first release. And actually this week they showed the first reveals of their Janky platform. We were talking about, American cultures and toys. So it looks like we're going to have another American producer popping up. And this one's actually headed up by Paul Budnitz, the founder of Kid Robot, and Hucky, who many thought was kind of going into like a retirement from toys. But they're both back, and they're making a comeback with this Janky platform. Have you seen it?
Yeah, he had that freaking farewell letter, right?
He did have a farewell letter.
He had a farewell letter. I read the whole thing. The thing was like 3 pages long.
It was long.
I read every word of it.
Yeah.
Didn't you read the last page where it said, "Just kidding"?
Just kidding.
April Fools.
I mean, at the time, I was like wondering why. His stuff is amazing, and I love the Janky. I mean, I think it captures his figures that he's been making customs of, right? Like low run editions of. That has always should have been a big thing. So I'm glad to see it getting out there, and much luck to him and Paul.
Yeah, I hope to have Paul and Huck on soon to talk about what all that they have going on. And I want to know, like, how soon after he wrote the farewell letter did all this start taking off? Because we all know how long it takes to get toys produced and stuff. So I would feel like within a month or two, they probably got in contact with each other and decided and started talking about, making SuperPlastic.
Probably that night, Paul was probably like, "What the fuck?"
What are you doing?
He probably called him up like, "What are you doing?" Well, fine, let's do something then.
Huck's always been really open about the mistakes he made, and he was living in a very high rent district in San Francisco, and he had extremely high expectations for himself and his toys, and so he never took any shortcuts. I mean, everything was, and that's one reason that Kid Robot could no longer produce his Gold Life series. It's just far too expensive, and I think that's kind of the hole that Huck put himself into, even though he had his popular collectors, and he can release his runs of editions of 10, and they will instantly sell out. As far as like the mass-produced stuff, I just don't think that he could make that type of overhead work out. And eventually, he just had to, shutter his doors.
Yeah, but I mean, he's so talented, man. I mean, he should have his own fucking animated show. I mean, those figures are amazing. Those characters are amazing. So
yeah,
it's good to see them come to life.
Well, he had actually for even SuperPlastic, they're developing. They're not just doing toys; they're doing games as well. So I saw a live Instagram feed actually today. What was showing the some play action of a Janky game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it seems like they got several things in the works. So anyway,
I just wish they didn't call it Janky Toy, because there's already a guy called Janky Toys. Like, just research it just a little bit. Like. I mean, if you just type in Janky Toys in Google, Janky Toys comes up. It's all his stuff. Like, he's been making stuff for years. Like, just call it something different. Just call it something different.
Pissed. I'm gonna Google that right now.
He's the guy that does all the Severed Limbs series of bootleg stuff. Like, just call it something different. There's already Janky Toys. He's already got the name.
I mean, is it different that it's just the name of their platform, though?
Yeah, but you're gonna try and Google Janky, like you hear,
True.
it's Janky Toys, and you're not gonna find it.
Yeah.
Oh, he just got buried. I'm sad for you, man.
Yeah. So the platform, I like the proportions of it. I think it has a good feel, good shapes. No doubt, it's definitely Huck's design. I'm more interested in seeing what the designers do with it. I think a lot of people would probably say this is not a platform just because it's so well defined.
It's pretty detailed.
Yeah.
What would you guys do to it? What would you do to it?
I don't know. I mean, right now I feel like I'd have to design some sort of fox or cat character or something like that. And
I was gonna say, it looks like Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog.
yeah, I've heard people say it looks like Sonic. So it's one of those things where you don't want to do the obvious. You definitely want to approach it in a different way and try to make it something other than what it looks like. So I'm really curious. I think there's 16 or 18 artists in a upcoming artist series for this toy. Maybe in a blind box series. I have no idea. But so I'm curious to see what they did with this platform.
Now I can't unsee Sonic when you said that.
Well, Google Tails Sonic the Hedgehog and look at the character.
I know. I can't unsee it now. Every time I see it, I see Sonic now. It's Tails. But with a paint app on it, it's not going to be Tails.
No,
I mean, it's even gold. That picture's gold, so it's even more Tails than it should be.
So
I'm going to be diplomatic about it.
I don't have to be. I've been mouthing off for 12 years. Are you kidding me?
So I don't know what their intentions are for this. I don't know if it's going to be a DIY platform that they hope to get in the hands of customizers and let them run with it. And what we do know is it's going to be, I think, 16 or 18 different artists applying their designs to this for, I think, either a series or maybe a blind box series, but we're still not even sure. But so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. But as far as it being a platform, I think it definitely is. It has some defined forms, but it still also has great shapes and enough smooth surfaces to be a good platform to use. But then there's also like the shoes. It actually has laces and a sole and all that to work with. So in a way, the shoes I think are a little bit restricting because no matter what you create, it's going to be something wearing shoes, a bear wearing shoes or a character wearing shoes. So, that might be a tough workaround for some people. But everyone is different with this sort of stuff. Some people like the defined stuff. Some people like the more organic shapes to work with. So, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
And then save this for, maybe they're going to come out with that. I mean, maybe they want to start off with a strong Huck presence and then come out with their version of a Dunny.
Yeah, true. Well, Munky King, you guys had designed a DIY toy, a platform toy. It was called Omi.
Yeah.
And how was that experience? I mean, is it difficult to get people to embrace a new DIY toy?
It is. Yeah, I was like, we got to do a platform because everybody's doing a platform. And, of course, we thought about monkeys, but come on, those have been done to death. But our logo is a mask. And so we did a platform based on Chinese opera masks or Japanese no masks that are, can be cats or bears or with a designer toy twist, and kind of divides a system where you can hang it on the wall like a mask.
Yeah.
Or connect them together and it's kind of like a Weeble Wobble. it's tough, man. It was hard to get people to adopt. And we even went as far as like making these acrylic displays that you can put 9 ohms on, and it's clear, so you can put a background on it if you want. So we had some great custom shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like Reactor 88 did a great one. JRIU did a great one. A lot of people did. And, we had plans for licensing. Like we did a mock-up of an Adventure Time one. But I think you have to have a very big marketing department to get a platform off the ground.
Yeah.
And just didn't have that. We didn't have a big enough push behind it. So, it's sold out. It's gone. It's done. I'm proud of it. It's like the very first toy that I designed myself.
Oh, really?
And so, yeah, of course, I work with great sculptors and illustrators. So, yeah, it was my baby. So it was tough when it was a baby. I mean, Woot Bear still sells them like hell. I mean,
yeah.
Woot Bear. Yeah.
I think it's just, do you think it's just one of those things, like with this designer toy scene, like, everyone's familiar with the bear brick and a dunny, and that's just kind of where the collector base tends to collect that stuff, and so it's just hard for customizer or whatever to then jump to a new platform and try to make that sell as well as what they know will sell, because there's so many bear brick and dunny collectors out there already?
I think for the platforms, people wanted figures.
Okay.
I think that was it. I think we tried to do a 3D piece of art that you can hang on the wall.
Yeah.
It just didn't fly, people.
Well, it did. It sold out, but maybe it's just something that you just decided not to, pursue the Adventure Time and other stuff with.
Yeah, it just got hard.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think it would be difficult to get a DOI figure up and running. But you mentioned they were selling really well at Woot Bear, and so speaking of retail, we also learned this week that Road to Fuji out there in Chicago, they're going to be hosting a pop-up Tokidoki event. And this is something they did last year and maybe previous years too, and it's always been a successful event for them. But what's different about this event this year is it's not just going to be a limited time pop-up shop. It's actually going to be a permanent thing. And so Tokidoki is going to have a permanent place inside the Road to Fuji store out there in Chicago. I think this is great. Whitney and Kirby of Road to Fuji, they've always been really forthcoming about their struggles the past couple of years financially and personally, and so I'm really excited for them. And this is a great partnership and a perfect fit. And anyone who's local to the area, if you're a fan of designer toys or Tokidoki, have a great location out there in Chicago to visit.
Oh wow, that's just news to me now. I mean, that's great. Congratulations, guys. That's fantastic.
That's huge.
I know fucking having a gallery that size and it's such an amazing space. I've yet to visit, but I'm not in Chicago. But I think Road to Fuji's been like integral to the scene.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And so yeah, this is exciting. I know Tokidoki's, they've really exploded. They have retail shops in London. They just opened up 2 in China, and the Road to Fuji location is not going to be as big as those retail spaces, but I'm sure it's going to be a sizable space within Road to Fuji dedicated to only Tokidoki products. So if you're in the area, be sure to check it out.
Definitely.
Didn't Tokidoki have a store here? Isn't there one on Melrose?
On the high-end side of Melrose. I mean, they were, west of Fairfax. And they were doing well. It was like next to Johnny Cupcakes. And
yeah, is that still there or is that gone now?
No, they're both gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
that rent on Melrose has got to be insane.
Yeah, how many $300 T-shirts can you sell?
I mean, there was a lot of stores on Melrose too. So there was you, and then I think several blocks down the road there was the Kid Robot store, and then Toy Art Gallery open there. And so, I mean, this is a very niche toy scene. It's kind of pretty crazy to think that there were 3 designer toy locations on Melrose with probably the cost of rent there.
Yeah, but I think we got in when it was cheaper before it blew up. Oh, that was so fun when Kid Robot was down the street and Tag was there. And, at first I was nervous because we were the first ones there on Melrose. And then I bumped into Paul and he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm moving down the street. I'm like, oh, fuck. What the fuck? I just signed a lease on this thing. And, there you are. But actually it was a very symbiotic relationship. Guys would come in saying, hey, Kid Robot sent us over because, they knew you had this and that. And we do the same. It was great. It became a scene. It became a community. And it's kind of lacking now. I mean, it's all online.
I remember the first time I went out there, I visited my friend Scott out there, and he took me around to Giant Robot, and then we hit Melrose, and we went to Kid Robot and Japan. Was it Japan, LA?
Japan, LA.
Yes,
yeah.
Japan, LA, and then we hit your store.
With Jamie.
And what was really cool about the difference between having Kid Robot and Munky King on the same kind of strip was Kid Robot primarily carried Kid Robot products and a sprinkling of third party toy produced products, and then you would hop over to your store and it was just anything and everything, and that's kind of so I could see that maybe you guys weren't in direct competition with each other in that regard.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, I was stressing out for nothing, and that's what experience teaches you. You don't have to be competitors. You just play nice and respect each other.
Yeah. If anything, it probably benefited both of you. You guys, like you said, you weren't in direct competition and probably helped each other out. You got, someone like me who's coming from out of town and we were just looking to hit all the designer toy stores in a couple days. And it was really nice having you guys both kind of in the same strip and within walking distance of each other. And so we hit both of your stores a few times, I think, on that day. So it was awesome.
Yep. And then when Tag moved in, that was gloves off. I'm looking at you, Gino. No, I mean, Tag was great too. I mean, Tag carried other stuff. They were heavy kaiju, and Gino had some great big pieces. And yeah, we're diverse enough in that people could have fun walking up and down Melrose.
Now, I never had the pleasure of experiencing Toy Art Gallery out there. Was it? I got the feeling it wasn't open like on a daily basis. Was this like a place that you had to make an appointment for, or was it a retail shop for only when they had events or something like that?
No, it was open all the time.
It was open all the time? Okay.
Yeah.
They just saw you coming, and they're like, oh, shit.
I don't know. As an outsider just watching social media, it just seemed like it was primarily only popping when it was like an event was going on. And that was... I
mean, that's when you would, head out there and talk about it, because there's an event. But like, it was a normal store with normal hours.
Okay.
Yeah, having like fucking $40 days, and I mean, it's tough. I mean, yeah, weekdays, who's there, and it's tough to make that rent. So
yeah, that's a tough scene. I'll tell you though, it's amazing that we have such a our scene is so small already, but yet 3 different stores within a few blocks of each other could exist and be completely different when you walk inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like that's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked our space a lot. It was like this hallway, right? It's like so narrow, but I these display cases, and yeah, I miss it. So I miss talking to people, like on a daily basis. Just like seeing collectors and seeing what they like and just shooting the shit.
Yeah, no, I bet
don't get that.
Yeah, I bet you had a unique perspective on that, seeing the buyers and collectors coming in on a daily basis, and not daily basis, but when they did come on, you got a good feel for them, and that's one reason we wanted to start the podcast here, because I'm not out there in LA or New York, and I don't have a whole lot of like close personal friends that collect, so I don't get to talk to really people about this. I would go to this the blogs and and search things through social media, but as far as talking, I don't really get to do that. So this is my out to do that. So yeah, if I didn't have that, I would probably miss it, and I would be out of touch. Not as bad as George, but I'd be out of touch.
Like to hear a human voice. I mean, our interactions with people are like hate comments on our fucking Instagram.
Yeah. So you don't get people in and out of the Maker's Lab or anything like that on a daily basis?
Not on a daily basis. Just people working, so. But we'd love to see more collectors and fans and artists.
Yeah.
But we do have events, so sign up for our Instagram and stay tuned.
Yeah, George.
Is that the best place to learn about the events is Instagram? Because my Instagram never tells me anything I want to know.
Dude, we got Instagram, Facebook. I mean, George, it's not that hard.
What about an email on your website or something? Can I sign up for that?
Yeah, but we don't. We're too lazy to fucking send out newsletters that nobody ever opens.
See,
them.
how am I going to find out about this stuff?
Do you ever open newsletters? You don't open newsletters.
That's the only way I know anything.
Really?
Ben, listen, I'm friends with Ben. I hang out with him on a regular basis from 3D Retro, and he'll tell me like, "Hey, you coming to the event Friday?" And I'm like, "What event?" He's like, It's on Facebook. I invited you. I'm like, dude, I haven't seen it. And I won't even know the event is happening the week it's happening because I don't see those things.
At 3D Retro.
It's all beginning to make more sense why you're no longer on behind the counter, George.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So, Patrick, what else? What does Munky King have in the works? Like, is there anything that you could tell us? Any leaks and sneaks or anything like that you can tell us that's going on with the future?
Our next drop should be Possessed, coming at the end of this month.
Wow.
And Superstar Destroyer is hopefully going to be ready by Comic-Con.
Okay.
And then some more stuff that, too early to talk about. Those two things. Keep an eye out.
Okay. No, those are great releases. And then we'll say hush hush on the other stuff. Patrick, you're talking about every year you go to San Diego Comic-Con, and one thing that I can relate to Munky King was the parties that you would have at the Basic Bar. You would have live painting, artists would be doing there, live paintings there, and just epic parties from right here. I'm a party pussy, so I don't really attend pussy. Wow.
Attend pussy party? Is that what you're gonna say?
No, that's definitely how it came out. But no, I'm just a party pussy. I've never enjoyed the nightclub setting, going to bars. My friends would go, and I just wanted no part of it. I don't like that loud indoor setting where you have to yell at each other to carry a conversation. I've never enjoyed it, and I've always kind of actually avoid it. But I did attend a few of the Basic Party events, and every year I would definitely make sure to at least swing by and peek over the railings and see who was in there and what was going on, just so I could say that I had popped or made an appearance, but just so I knew at least what was going on. But anyway, so how many years have you been hosting the Munky King event at the Basic Bar in San Diego?
We just had our 10th anniversary one. So we've been doing this thing for 10 years, and
jeez.
I mean, every year we're like, if we don't do it again, it's not that big of a deal. And then they call us up and go, hey, it's available. And then we're like, well, we have to do it because, like you said, people enjoy it, and it's not a lot of work. And Bar Basic is fantastic. They treat us nice, and we bring them a ton of business. And every year we used to try to imagine all kinds of events that can go on there. Like, I think we had a carnival one day, 1 year, like to release Target, and you can like throw darts and shit.
Cool.
I think we did like Jim Mahfood and Buff Monster were painting models on top of the pool table. Or like we had a giant Possessed, and like 3 of them, and they were custom, or 2 of them. When we were actually producing the 10,000 or 1,000% Possessed. And they did some mashup on that. So but I think the most memorable ones are just when we throw up boards and the artists just come up and just start jamming and step back and let it happen.
Yeah.
So that's been our recipe, and it's been working the last few ones. And like you said, we don't want like a huge crowd. We just want a mellow place for people to come and gather in one of the few times that we're all together,
Yeah, that's true.
Talk and look at art and, drink and eat pizza. So we're doing it again. 11.
Okay, awesome.
11th year.
I mean, it sounds really expensive to put those things together. I don't recall you guys doing like a cover charge or anything to get in. Like, how do you make money at? Maybe it's not about money, but I don't know what I'm trying to get at, but where.
Why do you waste all your money on a party?
Yeah, why do it? I mean, I understand it's about community and you wanting to throw a party, but it can't be cheap. San Diego Comic-Con is not a cheap place to throw a party.
Well, last year we got the idea from Luke, actually. Like, because I've been taking the hit on it, and I figure, well, it's a community service. And I just give back to like the people who spend all this money at my booth.
Yeah,
not that much. But Luke's like, hey, why don't you just fucking auction the art off and pay for the party, and you won't have to fucking pay out of pocket, and everybody's happy. The artist makes money, and we get to cover our costs. So
that's a great idea.
From now on, that's kind of how we're doing it. So, okay. If you want a chance to snag some amazing pieces, then we have a silent auction that we're going to do this year, and you just bid against each other for it.
That's cool. George, did you ever go to any of these Basic Bar parties?
Yeah, I stopped in many a time. I'm like you though. I'm not really into like yelling at my friend over really loud music, so I usually leave pretty fast.
Yeah.
But I always have to at least stop in to say hello because I love to see the art that's going on live. That's always the best part. I also can't eat pizza, so it doesn't like.
They have gluten-free pizza now, George.
Yeah, they have that. They have pesto sauce. I mean, I'm partial to that. Eat that.
No.
There's a canvas waiting for you. Sure. For whoever.
Maybe.
Dude.
No, like
Maybe.
I'm a
Live paint?
I'm a chicken shit when it comes to live painting.
Oh, come on. You've live painted before, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I have. I did one year at San Diego. I mean, at Designer Con one year, and I'm not much of a painter, so I went up there with no thought in my mind as to what I was going to do, and I just started painting off the top of my head, and no, it was horrible. I have actually PTSD from it, I think.
Really noticed.
No, but
Well, I'll get you a bunch of drink tickets, and we'll talk then.
okay, that might get me up there for sure. But otherwise, I mean, I think the Designer Toy Awards, their first event was actually held at the Basic Bar in conjunction with you guys, and
Oh, yeah.
I remember walking to that, and it was crazy. It was crazy packed. And I think you guys actually overfilled capacity where the bouncers at the door were turning everybody away, and not everybody got in,
Right.
and yeah, that place was nuts that night.
That was such a clusterfuck. I mean, we're totally unprepared for that. Like, we just learned, just keep it simple.
Yeah.
When we do a big event like that, it just kills the vibe, and people get mad at us, and it's not worth it.
No,
So,
that sucks that you had to deal with that. And I remember people standing on the sidewalk complaining that they couldn't get in, and people were watching from the sidewalk, and artists couldn't get in to receive their awards and stuff. So that was a weird event, but lessons learned, and that's definitely not the venue for Designer Toy Awards, but it's definitely the event for Munky King for sure.
come this year. It won't be like that.
You know what? I don't think I'm able to make it to San Diego this year. My wife is got a convention that same weekend.
What convention?
It's a teachers' convention.
Ah.
So I will be at home watching the kids. Maybe I can bring them with me.
Yeah, bring the kids.
Bring the kids. A 5-year-old and a 3-year-old inside Basic Bar? Awesome.
I did. I mean, they're fine.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, totally. I bring my kids.
Maybe I'll do that. I miss San Diego. I didn't go. I don't think I went last year either.
This is the first year since 2000 or since 1998 that I'm not going.
Oh, you're killing me. Really?
Yep.
You're not going.
I gave up the booth. I'm no longer going to San Diego Comic-Con. I feel wonderful. I'm going to save myself like $6,000. This is going to be beautiful.
God.
Wow.
There it goes. First one.
I got Designer Con. I don't need it. I don't need nobody even comes to my booth at Comic-Con because I don't do the thing where you have an exclusive that's only there because I don't want to alienate almost all of anybody that bought stuff from me.
Yeah.
Because they're all online and they can't make it to Comic-Con because they can't either afford to go or they can't get tickets. And
Right.
It's just not fair to leave them out. So I don't do exclusives like that. And then I don't have anything that's superhero related or comic book related. I'm way too independent to be a Comic-Con. I've realized that.
Good.
Yeah,
you made room for somebody else. There's a big waiting list for that place.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like let them do it. I've been going since 1998 was my first San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm done.
So now you can do those Asian conventions.
Believe me,
UK.
I'd love to do any of those ones in Japan again. But yeah, I should go to some of those other ones.
I mean, for the amount of money you spend at San Diego, you could easily go to like two like Asian
This
conventions.
is true, George.
I mean, I wasn't kidding. I would lose. It's an easy $6,000 out every year.
Yeah,
like
between everything, the hotel and the booth costs and all that.
between the booth. I mean, the booth alone is $2,300.
Yeah.
Yeah. God.
What about you, Patrick? Are you still sticking with San Diego Comic-Con as an exhibitor?
Man, it's so hard to walk away, I mean, I've been at the same spot for like
Yeah, you guys have
12 years,
great
It's
location.
like
Yeah.
right. But I mean, yeah, like for us to go to Asia, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to think about it. We'll see how this year goes.
Is San Diego always really, is it always really good for you guys?
It's been. I mean, we more than break even, so
Okay.
I mean, makes it worth it.
Yeah.
It's not like decon where it's in your backyard, which I'm sad about. Fucking no more Pasadena. What's up, Ben?
Well, George, you were just at WonderCon. Is that the same? Is that where DesignerCon's going to be, in that same convention center?
You think I went to WonderCon?
Come on, you've gone to WonderCon in the past. Of course, I think you went there.
I'm done. I'm done with those stupid things.
Is it the Motu PowerCon that you go to? That's the one, right?
Oh, I'll definitely be at PowerCon for sure. No, I didn't go to WonderCon because I had to work that weekend, but normally I would have went, but yeah, it's the same building but not the same room.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the misconceptions people are having. They're like, it's going to be huge in there. How are they going to fill that? It's not the same room. It's the downstairs hall. It's bigger than Pasadena, but it's not the giant WonderCon room.
Does it have that plush carpeting with the nice low lights that we're always in?
That's just the one tiny room of Decon. Come on.
Dude, that was the best room in Decon. That was amazing. We had a corner booth. Oh, it was like being in like an old hotel. It was like being in the Overlook, you know? It was great.
It was a cool room. It was a cool room, but that's also part of the problem, I think, with Pasadena was like it had like 3 distinctly different rooms with different feelings, and it like kind of disjointed the whole thing. I'm hoping this kind of brings it all together as one show, you know?
Dude, it's Anaheim.
I know it's far. It's far for us guys in LA, that's for sure. We always like driving out to that's going to be like, ugh.
Oh, wow. Come on.
Dude, you don't understand traffic.
Then just get a hotel room in Anaheim for the weekend.
Yeah, now the show that used to be a cool local show just started costing money.
Wow.
There you go. Wow.
Wow. You spoiled local people.
We were so spoiled with DesignerCon in Pasadena, I'm telling you.
Oh, it's so good. You forget something? Oh, it's only 20 minutes away. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. You just run home for it.
Good. I'm happy that it's in Anaheim. You spoiled babies. Good. All right. Well, that was fun. I had fun talking with you, Patrick.
Yeah.
We never actually met or talked before.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to all your future releases, and maybe I'll see you at San Diego this year. Are you going to 5 Points?
I might send some. I'm not sure. Yeah. Not me personally.
All right.
All right, guys.
All right. Thanks, Patrick. Wait. Before you leave, why don't you take a brief moment and just let our listeners know where they can find you?
Website is munkyking.com, and that's MUNKY king.com, and truthtopowerart.com, and our tag is Munky King Toys on Instagram and Facebook.
Perfect. All right. Thanks again for joining, Patrick.
Have a good night.
All right. Have a good one. George, did you end up going to the Star Wars virtual reality thing?
No, all right. So here's what happened. This was a super bummer. I went to buy the tickets because, it was like a couple days ahead of time, and I went online and almost all the time slots were taken already. And I was like, all right, there's a time slot that I can make work. It's like 45 minutes after we get out of our bowling night that we were supposed to be doing down there. I was like, everybody won't mind because we'll be wanting to go to dinner anyway or something. So we'll just wait, while they're getting in line for dinner, a couple of us will go over to this thing.
Okay.
So I go on the website. I click the available spot to buy tickets, put in all my information, sign up for the thing. It's a whole process. And then I click, I'm buying 4 tickets for all of us that are going to go in. And it says, sorry, there's only 1 ticket left for that time slot.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the hell? So now you can't figure out if there's even a ticket for a time until you click through to buy it.
Oh, what a pain in the ass.
So then I just said, screw it. And we'll go another time.
So now you won't go until DesignerCon.
So now I'll never go.
Because you said, how far of a drive is Anaheim from you? 40 minutes?
Well, you know what I did while I was on the website, though? I found out that there's one closer here.
Oh, perfect.
There's another. I didn't even know that it was like a franchise like that so I guess there's like 4 of them in Southern California, and there's actually one closer to us here.
Nice.
So I may end up going to one over here instead of down in Anaheim.
Yeah, that one will probably be less busy, not being located near Disneyland and all that stuff.
Hopefully, but I don't know, dude. I think this thing is really big. Like, I think this Like when we went and walked by it, because we were downtown Disney anyway. We walked by the place. There was a line down the block.
Jesus.
Like, yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like I think it's a pretty popular attraction. I was talking to Scott about it because he had been, and he said it's better than anything in the park.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, his whole thing was he just said it's exactly what we wanted virtual reality to be when we were little. It's what we thought virtual reality would be when we were little. That's
saying a lot.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm still super excited to see it. We will eventually make a trip to go, but we haven't done it yet. Jessica just got here.
Is it just you guys?
Jess, get on here.
That's sad. Oh.
That's not sad. No. We had a guest, Patrick Lamb. He was just on. But no,
Are you guys still recording?
We're still recording.
Oh.
So when are we getting you a segment, Jess?
Right now. Right now.
Wow. Okay.
It's gonna be the Void segment.
I'm gonna show you a picture.
But I was just telling him also, back on the Void thing, is a mall near us also just got its own Void, like in the mall.
Okay. I think that's what George was just talking about.
What do you mean? Do you know about the Glendale one?
Yeah, I just told them. I found out before.
All right, George. Why do you invite me in and not tell me anything?
Oh.
All right, here's the first game. It's going to be. I'm going to show her a picture of a new toy that's coming out, and she's going to tell us what she thinks of it. And it's something we just talked about on the show.
You guys already talked about
so
it?
It's current, and we'll just get your opinion on it.
Okay.
Like the opinion no one will care about.
Yeah,
but
it's the outsider's opinion. That's
all right.
The segment's going to be called "The Outsider's Opinion" with Jessica.
Off the cuff. Here we go.
Can I make my own theme song to it?
Sure. You want to do it now?
Yeah.
Like, it'll be like on Kevin and Bean where I get my own little intro.
Yeah. Do you want to do it? Go ahead.
Oh, right now? I said make one.
Ready?
Yeah.
So the figure is this. And this is the SuperPlastic Janky figure.
Janky. Signed and numbered.
This is
it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog. Is that what you guys said?
It's been mentioned.
We talked about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm on the right track.
You're not original at all, Jess.
I know. I'm sorry. Okay.
All right, that was it.
I don't know what to say about it. Like, is it metal? Is it really plastic?
I would assume it's just gold-plated plastic, I think.
I would think so. Obviously this isn't a fair one to really start with. I just wanted to see what her opinion was, just because we just talked about it.
It's okay.
I think it's a great segment because I work with coworkers who are not into designer toys, and they would see me going through the toy blogs every once in a while, and their reactions to probably 98% of the toys are hilarious. Like, they just don't get it. It makes no sense to them. Who would buy that? Who would spend their money to make that? Like, just all sorts of great stuff. And then there's like the 2% where they're like, oh, that's really cool. I like that.
See, I feel like that would have been me maybe a year and a half ago. I would have had the same reaction. But now that I've been with George and I'm seeing it, now I'm all saturated and I'll be like, that sculpt and paint job is horrible. Like, I know things now and it's not.
See?
I know.
All right, so now let's do. We just had Patrick on from Munky King.
Hi, Patrick.
This is This is one of Patrick's newest toys.
Oh.
So we're gonna see what you think of Patrick's new The Messenger.
I love it.
You haven't even seen it yet. I haven't even taken the picture yet.
But he was the guest.
But he's not on right now. All right.
Okay.
So here, what do you think of this one?
Okay. Oh, this one. I like it. It looks like kaNO.
It is kaNO. Damn, Jess, you know your stuff.
I know. Woo, I'm learning things.
Jesus.
I like the clear. The clear is so cool. Except for the side, the face looks a little weird. Like the nose looks a little.
On the clear one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it looks a little weird. I like the black. I feel like I really like this. I just wonder if the people in your scene are
gonna accept it.
Are on that political stance.
Oh, there definitely are some. I think it's going to reach.
I'm not
I think it's
saying-
going to reach beyond our toy scene, though. I think it's.
Yeah.
It's. I like that there's a toy company willing to take the chance and, put out something like this that kind of does have a message and a statement behind it.
Yeah, like something that actually matters.
Yeah.
He also said the sales are going to go to the Colin Kaepernick, whatever the foundation was that he started for this.
That's so nice.
So yeah, it's really cool. I wish I had something to do with it because I'd put my name all over this thing.
think it's a
The
great
sculpt is
sculpt.
so cool.
Well, I'll get you, George. I'll get you a gold marker, and you can put your name all over it.
Wait, I don't want to deface it. I just want to have it. No, and I don't. I just don't even understand what. Like, I guess I can take political things out of it. Like, I don't need to see it as a political piece for me to like the piece I'm looking at, I guess.
Right.
I like it. I like the clear a lot, but I like the black because you can really see the detail of it on this. And I like that you can see that it's kaNO because I like kaNO's work.
Yeah.
Shout out to your boy kaNO. I like that they're actually donating the proceeds.
Yeah.
Like, I really hope that it sells out for that fact.
Yeah.
And especially for all like this, like if he is getting as much slack as he's saying for producing a toy like that, then I hope it sells out. Fuck them all.
Hashtag fuck 'em all.
Don't hashtag that.
Oh God, hell no.
We also Jessica wasn't here earlier, but we also do need to talk about Gary's new word that he invented, missinhamps.
It's not a thing.
I forgot about
We
that.
need to make it a thing. I need a picture of Gary's face with the word missinhamps underneath it.
I think I had a couple new words this episode.
Use it in a sentence.
Did you? It was something like, "Were there any missinhamps when you had the gallery space?" And
No, I think it was something like, okay, let's do this one. Like, purely by missinhamps, Patrick opened the first designer toy store in LA.
I feel like you're just like trying to say like you missed the Hampton.
no,
Like
it
I'm
was-
missing the Hamps.
No,
no.
I was trying to say something like he started the toy store just out of desperation. He had to do it.
By chance
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Missinhamps is my favorite.
I had another word. What was that one, George?
I think I like it just because of how much George is enjoying it.
Well, you did say
Like, if you could see his pure pleasure on his face every time you say it, it's just
That's what I'm here for, to bring George joy.
the other word was insurgents, but you didn't make up that word. It was just used incorrectly.
And I do that all the time.
And it was closely followed up by another word of explosions. So I don't think insurgents and explosions were what you were talking about.
No.
But that definitely was not a topic we should have been talking about.
you guys are a mess.
Hashtag missinhamps.
Yes.
Wait, go back to the toy.
Okay, go back.
Okay, Jess, I got something to show you. I want to get your reaction on.
All right,
Here we go. I'm going to send it to
I'm ready.
George now.
I'm scared, but I'm ready. The suspense is killing me.
All right.
Huh?
And it's on Smacky Stuff. Oh.
Oh my god. Are you serious?
So this is called the Banalien. It's a figure by being produced by Toy Cube, and it's a open banana being peeled, and out instead of a banana inside, it's the alien.
A dick?
No, it's the alien
Oh,
from Aliens.
it's an alien. I'm sorry. I thought you said dick.
No, and this is
It
a
looks
real
like
thing.
a dick with teeth.
No, this is a real, from the movie Aliens coming out of the banana. And this,
Yeah.
they decided to show this on April Fool's, so I totally thought this was an April Fool's joke. And then I saw it pop up again, like later in the week on the toy blogs, and yeah, this is a real thing. What do you think, Jess? George, what do you
It
think?
looks like a dick with teeth.
I don't know how many dicks you've seen, but that is frightening. That
Like
that looks like a dick.
I get it. Like I get the the alien part, but why with a fucking banana? Like what's the
Here's the tie-in. BANA alien.
with
Banalien.
banana? Really?
That's it. There's people like to take two words that have a similar letter and they mash them together and they make things.
You could do vanalien and have it be coming out of a vanilla plant. It's vanilla.
That's the next. That's the next one. The Banalien bean.
Is this a crossover that works for you, George?
It's not even the same. Like, if it was white, like, maybe, but it's like a black. Like, it's black coming out of a banana.
You know what?
Like, make it white and then it look like a banana.
You know what? I would have liked that if they did it that way. You're right.
Because this just looked like a creepy dick. I'm sorry to say dick so much, but
Because I think you're enjoying.
I don't get to say it that much.
I will 100% like. Is this vinyl or is this a resin thing? If this is vinyl,
I mean, it's Toy Cube, so I'm going to assume it's vinyl.
I would buy this 100%. But
no, it's vinyl.
You're buying this?
I'm sure I won't have the opportunity. I'm sure it'll be sold out or whatever. But like,
No.
I would 100% buy that.
No.
You saw the banana toy I bought at Decon this past year. It was amazing.
Yeah, but
With like 1 foot coming out. Like,
yeah, but that's like Japanese vinyl. This is just a weird alien. Like, it's not. It doesn't even make sense.
Banalien.
George also likes penis toys or things that kind of look like penis toys. So
I kind of do, and I like banana thing. I like banana toys.
It doesn't make sense. It's This is make it white, and I would have been like, oh, okay, like whatever, like it makes sense. But I gotta go. This is.
anyone who's not familiar, we are talking about the Banalien 10-inch vinyl toy being produced by Toy Cube. The designer was Paul Jackson. So search it up, or we'll have a link to it in our show notes.
Tell Paul Jackson to make it white, and then I want a little bit of credit for that. You're welcome. More people will buy it because it will make sense. This is like saying that because B and A and N, BAN, so you can make a Banalien.
Banana alien. Banalien.
Banalien. Whalian. Right. Now we're gonna have whales.
Whalians would be so good.
Whalians.
Anything.
We need to make whalian pins. Can we make whalians?
Anything. Like you can make anything with aliens.
I actually like whalians.
I think whalians would be so good.
I'm gonna stop giving you guys ideas. I want like what's the thing where you get like money for like your ideas? Like he has a patch.
There's a Banalien patch.
There's stickers. I gotta go.
It's just too much for you. Too much excitement.
It doesn't make sense. It's just like, you know, the guy was like high, maybe watching Aliens, eating the banana, and he was just a little bit too high on the good stuff, and he was just like, Banalien! Yeah. Nailed it! How good is this gonna be?
And he actually got someone to produce it for him, which is like even more crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty weird.
Look at, he was high. Look at, he literally sculpted it out of a banana. This guy was so high when he thought of this idea.
That's somebody else. That's somebody else's Banalien.
Okay, well that
from
person...
2014. Somebody did a Banalien in 2014.
Are you guys just Google searching Banalien?
I looked out on Instagram hashtag Banalien.
Oh, okay.
And someone sculpted an alien head in a banana.
Yeah, I see that.
That's amazing.
Somebody, is it?
That's better than the banana.
Dude, I don't even know how you sculpt out of banana.
I don't know either.
The literal banana alien.
Banalien.
I like that one.
Jess, I love when you come on. You were like this burst of comedic energy when you come on. You just like revive the ending of the show. You're gonna be our closer, and I like this new segment too. I love it. It's you can be like our outsider correspondent perspective.
All right.
We'll just throw stuff at you, see if it sticks.
I'm the closer.
You're the closer. And if it sticks, we'll keep you in. If it sucks, I'll cut you out.
I hope it doesn't suck.
You got any tea for us?
God.
Any tea?
Huh?
Any tea?
Cardi B's album just dropped today, and it already went gold, and it is so legit.
Dude, I have no clue who you're talking about.
Well, I don't know what else you want me to say. That's the only tea I have.
No toy tea?
I have some, but I don't know if I can actually say.
Oh, you're the worst.
I know. I'm sorry. That was the after the podcast when it stops recording story.
Okay, well, let's wrap this up. And I'm going to drink some of your tea.
Okay.
George, where can people find you?
At Double G Toys on Instagram, and I still don't have a website yet because I'm terrible.
Slacker. And
I do have some nerd pins up on Etsy if you want to look for my Little George Etsy shop.
Is that what it's called? The Little George Etsy shop?
Yeah, it is actually. Because I started it I was gonna make a Little George. I have a couple.
Shade.
Hey, I have some. I had some Little George pins made years ago, and I had some stickers left over that I found, so I put them up on Etsy. But then I was like, you know what? I don't have anything else Little George, so I'm gonna start this into my Double G Toys Etsy shop.
Okay.
But for right now, I'm just keeping the Little George name on there because I like it.
Okay. Well, hopefully Teresa will be back next week. Otherwise, I am Gary Ham. You can find me at superham.com or Gary Ham on Instagram. We do this every week, not because we have to,
but because we want
to.
So until our next transmission, we're signing off. Bye.